All right, we are going to get started. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight and come and spend an hour with us to learn about some of these issues around housing and then talk about some of that data that comes around housing. Before we get started, I want to make sure that we start off right and do some welcome. So I'm going to invite Destiny Jones, our part-time organizer that's on the ground here in Alexandria and for the Central Louisiana, to come up and welcome us into space. And then we're going to have a welcome by Travaris as well.
Good evening, I'm Destiny Jones. I serve as a board member for the HousingLOUISIANA Housing Alliance, and I'm also a part of the roller team. And I'm looking forward to neighboring with the community about housing justice.
All right, thank you.
For the most part, everybody kind of know me. I know about that. I want to say thank you guys for joining us on our listening tour. This has been the first one in about 3 years that we could do in person. The last one was during the pandemic, and we had to do it via Zoom, and it was great. You were there, and we had a lot of other people there that continue to help us and assist us in what we're doing. This is a safe space. Your opinion here is valued. So if here's something that strikes a chord, please don't hesitate to add in. I want to thank Rolla for did everything, man. Exceptional group of people. Like I said, Ms. Destiny, we got Mr. Great Reporter on the way. There's a few people that thought it was 6:30, and that's okay. Just to safe space, your opinion is encouraged. I am president of the HousingLOUISIANA Alliance. Been doing a lot of work from a distance to close, and partner with a lot of community organizations, community change, Power Coalition, just you name it. I've been trying to get involved with it. And so, yeah, this is our host. So thank you for coming.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Travaris. On the phone, we do have Executive Director Andrenica Morris. Andrenica, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Afternoon. Good evening. Sorry I couldn't be with you all in person tonight, but I'm Andrenica Morris, President and Chair of Housing Louisiana. So we're really happy to be here again with the folks of Alexandria and with the folks at the HousingLOUISIANA Housing Alliance. So the team is, we have a lot of confidence in the folks who are there, and they're going to take great care of y'all and make sure that your issues are highlighted.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrenica. Andronica's in transition right now, so she's traveling. We just traveled all the way from New Orleans here. So my name is Brandon Caples. I am a statewide organizer for Housing Louisiana, and I work with Destiny trying to uplift the roller chapters across the state. This is our fifth stop on our tour. So I've been traveling since last week before last. And so far we have done Monroe, New Orleans, the North Shore, which is in Hammond, and then Lafayette and Lake Charles. So this is our sixth stop, and then now we're in Central Louisiana, Alexandria. So I'm so happy to have this robust conversation with you guys around housing, because we know we know what it's like when people don't get engaged and are not engaged in housing. Our politicians tend to do what they want, and we have to show up in numbers to make sure that we hold them accountable. So I want to get started because you guys do have the fact sheets, and then Mauricia is going to put up the agenda. So we're going to kind of go through some of the data that has been put out according to the census, but also FEMA, and we're going to have a dialogue about that. And then also the next sheet that you also have is the housing priorities, which I also sent out in a reminder. Everyone should have a copy of the housing priorities. And then we're going to discuss those as well. And then we're going to close out by lifting up next steps and what we can do. And as people come in, definitely come in and fall in. It doesn't bother me at all. Then we'll have a discussion about that. So this is our the regional housing planning area, right? Which is what Central Louisiana is, covers over 6 parishes. So we are in one of those parishes right now. We're looking at definitely looking at the data centered around that, but we definitely do this tours, these regional housing tours, simply because it's important to get this data out to also community members, community leaders, for anybody that is impacted by housing, right? So this is why we are here today, and we want to just have some robust conversation around housing with you guys and with all of you. I want to thank Tavares and Destiny for being on the ground, and also Reverend, who was here today with us, who was allowed us to be in this space. So I want to definitely send a shout out to you. Thank you so much. So when we're looking at the fact sheet, we're talking about housing. You know, you see some of the parishes that comes up. Around the fact sheet, we see some of the issues. What stands out to us, as advocates and housing advocates is obviously median cost and median rent, and the absolute data that is not affordable housing for everyone across the parish, right? So when we talk about the fees, in that area, right, the one thing that you want to look at is that it's the population of it, the number of households, you know, with that population. The median value of a home is 153,000 plus, right? In that parish. But how we want to connect that is that, yeah, we have a lot of, 61% of owner occupied homes, and about 39% of those homes are rental. But as you can see, when we talk about cost burden, who's determining what cost burden is? In the story, yeah, sure.
Think that cost burden would be the house cost more than the person has.
Yeah.
And that is well, they're not able to pay the full amount.
Yeah. Anybody else have a similar definition? Cost burden? Burden? I'm sorry, that's the last. I'm sorry.
Previous guest said this, he said, the science together, the mortgage or the mortgage is more about. The other things that come up besides paying your monthly mortgage.
There we go.
You got your mortgage,
Utilities.
insurance. You just have different payers that come up.
Right. Right, and so when we talk about cost burden, that's something on the actual dollar time, how many people, when we look at these percentages, right? How many people are cost burden in that parish, right? And the three, that's what we had. How many people are cost burden per day? So when we talk about housing and we look at how people, like the affordability of housing, we talk about affordability, that number, the housing wage is supposed to be $15 and 70% an hour. And how many jobs within this parish is given that? So that people are able to afford housing. Say it again, sorry.
The only place I can think is they might pay that would be dam or something.
Right, so, because most, right, so, right. Right, so when we talk about like that, so like people need to be making 1573 to afford housing. And if people are not making that, then they're with the burden, then you have to do other things to earn other income. So that can be having two jobs. That can be having two jobs and another hustle, right? And as we know, we work only 40 hours a week. And if a person is making studying with a least minimum wage, what, 775 an hour? You have to think about how far that number is according to 1573, right? And when we look at that, we see how much it takes for a person to get to afford housing. So if a person is making, as like, you know, and this is an example, like when we talk about like our fast food workers, you know, Louisiana, especially when we're talking New Orleans, heavy service industry, city, when people are making less than 725, right? Well, like they working for tips. If we're working for tips, and then during the pandemic, what we saw was that the shutdown happened. And what the people had to do during the shutdown, they had to shelter in place. And when we sheltered in place, people wasn't able to afford housing. We had a lot of evictions happening around this time, because people wasn't able to actually work. And obviously the service industry, kind of dipped down. So if you're not able to make that, be looking at this number, and then right next door in Maryland, that housing rate is 1785, even steeper than what it was before, even steeper than it is in repeat. So it's not that many places that is offering, thank you, how you guys doing? It's not that many places that are offering those wages, and so people are having to double up, right? And then when we look at the median income of rent, right, the median rent. What is the median rent? What are we looking at? 807? How many people you know are able to afford their rent? A lot of them are. There's nobody. Yeah. And then that's another program that is able to assist, but if more and more people don't have affordable housing, so they can afford that, then they once again have to double up. So that's a better thing. So let's look at Concordia. And just position, when we look at Concordia, the population was about 20,000 plus. But then look at the median rent. Almost $300 less, or $400 less than Vernon and Repeat, right? But look at the housing rates too. Like, what is the housing rates right there? Almost $14 an hour. Still not able and still not affordable, so while people are being able to reach and be able to not work 1 or 2 jobs. So we do these things, then I know Angelina will jump in a second to talk about some of the other data. But we have these conversations about things because we see that there's still some work to do around house. There's still some work to do since around because that when we work and we talk about push housing first, we have a lot of people call push housing first. We think that everything can be in first if we put that first, right? Like if we think about housing and we think about COVID impacted housing and you were supposed to stay in shelter in place. Some people didn't have a place to shelter. So we are looking at people and telling people, shelter in place, stay at home. During the pandemic. But some people didn't have homes. So this is why we have advocates around housing, we have advocates trying to help with not only homelessness, but making sure that people are able to afford the utilities and not be homeless, right? And not be in a place where they are not able to afford their utilities and afford their rent. All right? Say again? Yeah, compared to New Orleans, right. But even in New Orleans, right, if we take that as an example, right, we talk about New Orleans and rental rates in New Orleans, that rate can be even higher for someone in New Orleans, right? Because the example I just stated, like, we are heavily a service state. And during a time, people wasn't able to go out to eat, go to, or like, we have the big famous street, Burger Street, right? While people love to come and party and do everything else, but that was shut down. Right? That was shut down during the pandemic. And what do you think happened to people in those industries that wasn't able to afford? So, right, loss of income. And then, obviously they had other things to fit, like unemployment kind of control. But if that wasn't a hot, everything was in a hot control, they wouldn't have a rule to keep. So when we talk about like New Orleans, yes, the median rent is higher, absolutely. It is certainly higher than Central Louisiana. However, the wage gap as far as what people are making is still a fact. Yeah, for the fact. Angelica, did you want to jump in? Oh, thanks. All right. So when we talk about, like, let's do another example.
Oh, sorry, can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, you can hear you.
I was double muted, sorry, and I missed I missed the question, sorry, Brandon.
Oh, we was talking about, so the question was, I was giving an example about the living wage and median wage about New Orleans as compared to New Orleans when we talk about, when we was talking about the example in Rapides, right? Like the median rent
Right.
is 807, but the housing wage is 1573. And so my example is that obviously a lot of people in New Orleans are part of service workers, server industry workers. Well, we didn't see some of them didn't see that wage because they wasn't able to make that wage. That's one. And
That's
two,
right.
yes, the rent is higher. However, they wasn't able to make that wage, so the gaps were still there.
That's right, that's right. No, that's exactly right. So like in Rapides is $15 an hour that someone has to earn, which is possible if you've got two people earning minimum wage. But it's still challenging, but what if it's just a single person who's the head of that household? If you're by yourself, if you have an elderly parent living with you, if you have some children, and so that means that person has to work 80 hours a week. That's what you're looking at. If you make $7.25 an hour, it's 80 hours per week to earn what you need in Rapides. And but one person can't do it alone. And not everybody's household is set up that way. And so we should be able to address those gaps. There should be funding out there and programs that help people close those gaps.
Absolutely. Thank you, Angelico. So building off of that, how many of you guys know the percentage of your income that you're supposed to spend on your mortgage or your rent?
20 to 25%.
Okay, 20-25%. Any other guesses?
That sounds about right. Sounds about right.
That's what the average. Supposedly, I would suggest that.
Right. Any guesses over here? It's actually 30%, but it was close. It's actually 30%, right? And if you are not making these wages, you're spending more than 30% of your income for housing. And when you look at that, that's how we get these numbers, these housing numbers, right? And we talk about housing and making it affordable. But then, like Angelica pointed out, someone has to work 80 hours to earn that, right? And part of that, right? So in California, do anybody know what the minimum wage is in California? 15% an hour, right? Minimum wage is what here? So that's 25, right? Do someone in California work more hours or less to pay their rent? There's someone here.
They were glad.
Travis is absolutely right. They work less. A person in Louisiana will have to work 81 hours minimum wage to afford housing here. Versus, it's not much of a gap, 79 hours in California. So when, we've been fighting this fight to have $15 an hour across the state, right? But that doesn't address because these wages, the Southern Maryland is 1785. So it's still not enough. Go ahead.
So you said something about 30%.
Yes, 30.
So we talk about gross or net income. Okay.
Average median income. So it's gonna be the income before that.
Before tax. Yeah.
And you shouldn't spend, obviously, if you can spend 20 to 25, that would be great. That would be great, but sometimes it's not feasible. All right. So then let's look at LaSalle, right? We're looking at LaSalle, just really quick, this portion is really quick. If you're looking at LaSalle, we're seeing the median rent is 602. And then we talk about the positive status, and I didn't go over this all, but right at the bottom of positive status, 70% of the people that live in the cell and also repeat earning and win, it's almost like 20% across the board. And then when we talk about Hula, Victoria, Early's, is over the 20, almost, and Concordia, 31%. So that's 31% of their revenue. Now, in poverty, excuse me. So once we talk about the median income, right? The median income for a household is $52,205. How many people, the thing I know, you may not know this, how many people you know around the area making that that they can afford the housing? Yeah, and then that's part of the solution, right? When we talk about the central understanding as a whole, is that the infrastructure, the job market, all of these things may or may not be in place, but that's why, that's why we have to have advocates on housing, because we definitely want to make sure that we have those things in place, not only for, just for residents, but just for all housing, we want to make sure that affordable people are able to stay at home, Now, mind you, there's one piece that I haven't mentioned yet. We're talking about money, we talked about that, we talked about wage. Well, we're in Louisiana. What happened to Louisiana? There we go. There we go. So when we talk about that, so keeping with that thing, right? So we talk about flood, damage, hurricanes, tornadoes. We are in the path for a lot of national disasters. We have to rebuild even from Katrina, right? Right. We have, like, just in Lake Charles, Lafayette, Dr. Chris, with Florida, how y'all doing? They are still recovering from Hurricane Ida. Rebuilding from Ida. When you talk about the structure of a home, healthy home, affordable home, one thing that we have to do is build stronger, scientifically stronger. And not only from that, when we talk about disaster, right? We're looking at, sorry, page 4, sorry, still. We're looking at energy efficient. And then what the hurricane damage is across the state, right? So obviously, in Grant, LaSalle, Keys, Vernon, and Wynn, we had a lot of damage with Laura and Delta. How long ago was those hurricanes? How long ago? 2.5, 3 years. Right. And we still have people that are not back in their homes. Still displaced. Still making stuff still fighting with insurance companies. And then right now in the state, we have a real big what? Insurance company. People are getting dropped by insurance. Drop by insurance, the insurance companies that they got. And now insurance is on too high for some folks, which is part of that cost burden, right? Not being able to afford the necessity things with a house and how people lose their homes. It's not having those structures in place. How many people have met people that have lost their home, or know someone that has lost their home, just from taxes? Not able to pay the taxes. That's one issue that's the structural part of it. And then we have another part, is the insurance. If we don't have insurance here, and we are in a path of hurricanes and floods and wind damage, we don't have a chance, right? We don't stand a chance. So just for those 2 hurricanes, if you look right at the bottom, it's really small. It is estimated, just in the Keys, right? That it needs almost $400 million to rebuild from the hurricane. And that's not what you think. That's what people think. $400 million is coming to this. And we know that oftentimes the dollar signs do not go to the people in the community that is needed. So we have to be diligent to make sure that we are elevating our voice, doing what we need to do, to make sure that we are getting heard. So we look at these numbers and then total cost us, like, I mean, you just them, they keep going up and up and up. I mean, grant, almost 40 million. LaSalle, almost 20 million. Vernon, 72, and then Wayne, $30 million. Those are not like numbers. Those are not everyday kind of money. That's not everyday kind of money. And we're saying that that is what we need to make sure that we are building the city that we're in. And too often the dollar signs are not reflecting that. And we have to make sure that we are doing our due diligence for that. The energy efficiency, right? We're talking about energy efficiency. We're talking about the actual utility bills in the home. That we see after every hurricane, after every disaster, this is a delay in turning the lights on, getting the utilities back on, this is a delay in actually utilizing those facilities, because if you're in New Orleans, we always have a ball about it, right? And I'm sure it's no different. I'm sure you guys will turn to the same. So, I want to allow Antonika to kind of jump in on the energy efficiency piece, because I might have missed something.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Yay, okay, we made it work this time. So, no. Sorry. Somebody's trying to talk to me at the airport. Trying to ask me a question. It's okay, it's very weird out here. So sorry, y'all. So on the energy efficiency piece, we want to make sure that, people understand that when we talk about housing insecurity, and we talk about making sure you can afford your housing, it's not just your rent and your mortgage, it also includes your utilities. And we know that that's a big concern for the people here in Alexandria. Y'all have been struggling with this issue for a very long time. And the numbers, bear out your concerns about where your utility bills are. And y'all have some of the highest bills, in the state. So we need to be making sure that we're doing investments in your home to make sure they're energy efficient. The more that you can rely on things like solar and wind to get y'all utilities, the lower your bills are going to be.
All right, thank you so much, Antonika. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
You spoke about the insurance, and I would love to hear the state rep, Mr. Lavin, Attorney Lavin, because they just had a special session concerning the insurance. So I would like to hear from you what all transpired, because you didn't really give us a lot of info on it. It told us that you all met, and then you were able to do some things, but they didn't go in depth about it. So I'm sure a lot of the viewers, and I personally would like to know what all transpired about that insurance.
So, if you don't mind saying, come to the speaker, because they.
Antoinette, how you doing? Antoinette, how you doing? Can she hear me? Hello? Okay. All right. Insurance. We met, Ed Walden, State Revolution 26, we met last week. We have a worldwide insurance issue. I say worldwide, we've got flooding in Germany, we've got fires in Australia, we got the whole global market is really messed up. And we look at what's happening in Louisiana, in the country, we've got fires in California, we've got tornadoes in Oklahoma, we've got flooding. Global warming is real. The last 2 weeks we've had a lot of flooding, so we're gonna live in a world that weather's unconstant. What's happening down in South Louisiana from Calcasieu, Cameron Parish, all the way to Plaquemine along Interstate 10? Because we've had so many storms and so many insurance companies have filed bankruptcy and left the state, and then you had just so many storms on top of stuff. Insurance rates out of control. Most folks will have $1,000 house note, but they got a $1,500 insurance note. It's really bad from Cameron, Calcasieu, all the way up along Interstate 10. It's really bad. What we had to do is that we put about $34 million into a pot of money. We're trying to invite smaller insurance companies to come and start writing policies. The big five: Progressive, Liberty Mutual, State Farm, Allstate, and another one. They've gotten to the point they're not writing more policies. So we're trying to bring in other companies to write policies. The problem is that we're bringing in smaller companies from other areas. So we're hoping and praying that the commissioner will vet companies. For example, if a company comes to Louisiana, we're hoping and praying that company doesn't have a bunch of policies in Florida and North Carolina. Why? If you have storms in Florida, North Carolina, then that's going to affect the solvency in Louisiana. So the insurance market globally is out of control. We put $34 million in a fund. $34 million is not a lot of money. It's like $3. It's not a lot of money. We're hoping we can put that money to entice companies to come in and write policies. But the problem we have is that the storms coming so often. Something happens in California, those storms and fires that affects us because those insurance companies are writing policies all over the country. Those storms affect us in other parts of the country. The hurricanes and storms make our whole insurance. So we're gonna live in a world where global warming it's bad. The weatherman will tell you it's going to be 60. Nobody can handle these erratic weather points that we're having, and we're gonna have it for the rest of our life. When people say global warming is here, it's here. It's affecting our rain, it's affecting how we do drainage. We're just hoping and praying that we won't have so many storms. And understand when storms happen in other parts of the country, it affects us too because insurance companies are writing policies and paying claims. So if we bring in some companies in Louisiana, when you have the floods in California, the fires over here, it affects us all. So $34 million is like $5. Not a lot. Our budget is billions of dollars. So insurance is going to always go. One thing I'm going to tell you when I sit down, make sure you have a roof. If you got a roof, you can fight the game. If you got a bad roof, it's over. So if you got to put a roof on your house, you may put a bunch of money in the roof, buy a roof. Please buy a roof. You got a good roof, you can stand the game. If you got a bad roof, these storms, if you have to buy insurance, make sure that people are selling insurance where they exclude wind and hail damage. Can't buy an insurance policy they exclude wind and hail damage. Why? Because wind comes from those storms. You'll think you have coverage, you don't have coverage. So make sure if you buy insurance, your friends buy insurance, read the policy, make sure you know what it covers, what it doesn't cover. If you got a problem, you better buy a roof, not one, because a roof will keep you in the game. That roof, if you got flooding and you have leakage, you got problems. But insurance is gonna be a problem. All we do is put a Band-Aid. In Florida, they put about $3 or $4 billion in a fund and they're doing stuff. But what we did, we just put a Band-Aid. We're gonna always have problems with insurance.
I have a follow-up.
Yeah.
So you said 35 million, we all know that's not enough.
No.
Have you guys set down and estimated what will be enough?
Well, clear buildings, but you're not getting the votes to put it in. That's the problem. We can find a way to put $1 billion in funds together, bring in, we can pay claims, but you're not going to get enough legislators to vote. Legislators, the Republicans take the position If you don't have insurance, that's your fault. They're not worried about poor people struggling. So if we put a bill, it still wouldn't be enough. Storms that are happening, they happen too often. We had the same storm 2 weeks ago, where the let's do out. These storms are coming. So the best thing I can tell you, please.
She has a comment.
But even if we put a bill, we still got problems, but there's only so many companies that are selling, flood insurance and homeowners insurance. Because that's a difficult insurance because claims are coming. See, we had, after Katrina hit, we had a whole gap of about 10 years when that happened. Then they started hitting us back to back to back. So insurance is a monster. So please keep your insurance on, keep your roof.
All right, hold on. Antonica, you had a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we do need to make sure we have our insurance task force at Housing Louisiana, and we do need to make sure that we're looking at other solutions. There are those of us who do not think that this Band-Aid will work at all, or it'll do more harm than good, allowing insurance companies to cherry pick. Either way, it's not a long-term solution, and we need the legislature and the insurance commissioner to be focusing on long-term solutions that don't let this happen again, and that we have to start investing in our housing stock. There are billions of dollars available from the federal government that's not being gone after to rebuild housing. There's hundreds of millions of dollars sitting at the state, not being deployed to weatherize and strengthen people's house. Last year, there was a plan designed to help people improve their roofs, and it was cut from $10 million to $2 million. And the legislature still hasn't created the rules that will make sure that those funds get out the door. So we need to make sure that we're getting what we need, and that these programs are being deployed in a timely fashion. So we appreciate State Rep being here tonight. I think it's great that he's here, and I think there's a lot that's going to happen. There's a lot of opportunity coming. We just need to be ready for it.
All right, Trevor, you had a comment?
Yes, so my idea is that this legislature is, there's always a group of people that's against something that's good for everyone. And the legislatures that vote against these policies, they have insurance. And the interesting part is, it seems as though they don't want anyone else to have insurance. I'm pretty sure they're very politically unaffected. But again, we're in a city where the mayor said 3.5 million was enough for the gap in utility bills for 3,500 homes. So again, somebody's getting some type of service, but it's just not going to the people that actually need it. But the sad part is the people that voted against it actually have the service that they're voting against. So it's kind of ironic. Maybe we should play some of those people. Maybe it's the time for the old hands to kind of break it. People can use their voting power.
Yeah.
Election time, but during election time is very dicey and tricky because there's all kind of politics at play. But if you just take note of what they're doing now, you can make your assessment on a bi-weekly basis as the city council takes place. They typically are a complicit council now with a complicit administration. So again, the people that vote against the things that we need, they have. Not saying that we should take from the have because we're the have nots, but at least put them in a space where their opinion will matter. Because their opinion is not the opinion. I mean, I got it, I would not do
Yeah. Any other comment? Question? Well, we have Antonica, she's probably boarding her flight.
She is, she's boarded now.
She's boarding her flight, so she's gonna have to jump off. All right, let's move on. Let's do the priorities. So the next one we're gonna kind of go over briefly is the priorities. The priorities. So these priorities created and for the two, for the one, thank you. And for the one, this is the time, like this part of the portion of the agenda, is the time where we are asking for your feedback. Actually, what could be added to this part? Because after this meeting, you will get a survey via email to fill out, and then to rank these priorities. And then you'll work with the organizer on the ground, definitely, and then I'm not the organizer on Myra, who will get up here in a second. And we'll talk about those priorities, but if y'all want to talk about some of these priorities, for example, the big thing is what I hear is definitely about that time, which is definitely something that we have to add, definitely for that. And then definitely, yep, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
We buy a home. You have to get a flooding first. Right?
I know, I don't know the correct answer off the top of my head, but Angelica was know that, but, I do know you need insurance, I'm not only. You have to have word. Yeah, I mean, I know back in the day, I do know back in the day, when you bought a car, you didn't have to purchase the insurance, you want to, but now currently, that is something just, no. And it was something that. Right. Exactly. Because it is. The rest of it, how you, mapped out. But I don't know if there's, those are other shit that come from that. I don't know, but I can get that.
The person on the phone said that there's money available, but we're just not applying for it. What would it take to apply for that available?
So, like, we have collectively show up and definitely, get our voices heard, because that's part of what I said earlier, there's so much of the dollar funding is not allocated, and doesn't go to us that are in need. And then when we see across the state, like for instance, I know in Charles, and I get right, when they look at Hurricane Ida cases, that a lot of what we see is that people are saying, they never came to my house to do damage. They never came to our house to do this, they never came into our area to do that. Well, we have to think about two things, food and COVID, I mean, one COVID time. Even though things have opened up, and then the second part is too, is that some people, people eat, and some negatives past, right? And so we have to be diligent to actually go up and show up in the spaces, because they have, like the councilman said, you have these conversations, and I thank him for his transparency, but sometimes we don't get that transparency from them. And these are people that we elect, that we should hold accountable. I'm sorry, go ahead, Charles. I'm way over here, but go ahead.
Because the way we can show up in numbers, and have the correct audience, the correct minded audience. We can show up and be with people that are attracted from the whole idea. One of those people are gonna listen, the other one has already come out. So, that being said, there's a process that takes place. Again, it's your elected officials that are, you elected to represent you at different times during their tenure. You feel as though that elected official is living up to that potential that you spoke of during this campaign. You can, literally organize and recall that politician at whatever rate. And, 30% per district, you can actually pull that councilman out of there and, actually get somebody in there that, you know, is actually on the same page as you, that's wanting these changes to be made. But we have to find those people. We have to cultivate that level of importance that are elected. Because we show the numbers, we show the suits, we show the street code, we show the big times, we show water rooms. I mean, you name it, that to get the justice that we deserve, we never get it, because the people that are talking to don't understand, like we're speaking French, well, Spanish.
Another question. With the hurricanes, floods, all of the things that are going on, what is an estimate, if you have one, regarding, the lack of housing, the housing deficiency for the state and even in Rapid Valley?
I don't have it for the state or Rapid Parish, but so if we look at so really with the occupancy status, right? Look at that vacant number. And I can give you, so let's say repeat, right? We have over 10,000 homes vacant. So when you look at that number, that can kind of give you a definition within the parish. Then if we want to add these numbers up, that would be kind of like in 3 to 6. But I can get to that estimate. I can definitely find that out. Anything more about the priorities?
Is there anyone that you guys want to hear about that we worked on, that we worked on in the last week?
Yeah, but I won't give Amara a chance to come up and do her little spiel in a second. But I want to make sure anybody online got any questions or comments? And they could, you could bring them all up now. It's almost like you could start sharing the, are you having anything down? The soup? Oh, okay, I thought it was something. We've lost it. There were. Did I bring a job? Yeah. It looked like 5 people on it. You're no. I'm sorry.
I'm still here. Good night.
Hello. You have
I'm
any
on.
questions?
Nope. Good night. Thank y'all so much. Y'all take care.
Oh, thank you so much, Antonica. I was like, who is that? Thank you so much. Safe travels.
Thanks. Great job. Great job.
Thank you, thank you. Any more questions or comments on the?
I have some comments I'd like to make on one of the priorities. That's the one that, refers to, ensuring that affordable housing is available. If you look at the fact sheet from the U.S. Census Bureau, it shows that, and once again, I'm just focusing on Alexandria. So I'm not focusing on Rapid Parish as a whole or Central Louisiana, just Alexandria proper. Okay. We have about 25,000 households in Alexandria. It's not reflected in the census, but that's what we have. And we have about a 14% poverty level in Alexandria. I know your fact sheet says it's 19% for Rapides. In Alexandria, it's about 14%. And of the homes, of the 25,000 homes in Alexandria, about 50% are owned by persons that reside or live in that residence, in that structure. Now, there's other homes that are owned, but they're rented. So if you look at that data from the census, you already have the average rental for an apartment. You have the unemployment rate. You have the home ownership rate, which is a little bit above 50%.
So that right away defines one of the biggest opportunities for us in this city and collectively in this parish. You got almost 50% who are not owners of the residences they live. You have 14% that are below the poverty level. You were talking about the minimum wage. They don't make enough money to be able to qualify for a mortgage. So that's another huge opportunity here for that large mass of people. Then you have the average rent at about $860 a month. So if you take all of those entities that you're bringing together in one comprehensive plan, if you got a mortgage of 42% of the city's population who could be homeowners. Now, homeownership is not for everyone, but there's a certain portion that they would like to do. You look at the low income wage, the minimum wage. Okay, if we had the opportunity to increase that, then you can get people to the level where they could purchase a home. You look at the rent, and if you could divide the plan where the mortgage was equivalent to the rent they're paying, $860 a month. Now you pretty much address the major obstacles that are impacting affordable home ownership. So there's federal money available to come with a lot of restrictions that you have to follow for that.
Program that federal, like a lot, they do have a program where under the federal program where if you pay a rent, that rent will be then turned into $1,000 for a home. But you're right, it's not having stipulations. And that's the part, and I hear you, but that's the part that we have to answer, right? Because the notion for a lot of people is that one bad apple falls the bunch. Because what they don't want is when they say, we don't want people to scam too. We don't want people to freeload. And that's that thinking that a lot of people have about homes. They want to be frankly perfect, have the stock of housing, you have all these things. There's a system, and they know that it's a system, and they know that it's an issue. But and they know that they want, like for any program, you have to qualify, right? For any program. But they don't want certain people to have that access. So we have to dismantle that. And I'm sorry, that's all.
Well, let me wrap up that, because the fourth point I wanted to make is that for municipalities, especially a small municipalities like Alexandria, but it also applies to the larger cities. They have a lot of declining neighborhoods. They have a lot of blighted property. There's a lot of that blighted property that has fallen into adjudication, where the city had to take it over. And now the city's maintaining it. That's a net expense rather than generating income. And if you group all of those entities together, if the city, if the municipalities would invest in themselves, put up a fund of money like what they did just recently to assist people with utility bills, if they could do the same thing to assist people with housing, especially the people who fall in the categories I just mentioned, of the U.S. Census, the ones who are at a minimum wage, the ones who cannot get a commercial mortgage from a lender, then the city becomes the lender. And as you do, you're lifting these folks out of poverty because they're paying for a mortgage, which is equivalent to the rent they're paying. Where the days of a big corporation coming into this area paying $25 an hour, that's over. We're not going to see that ever again. What we have to drive is entrepreneurship. Starting their own businesses and generating income that way. And if we marry all of those segments together, you can get a home ownership program that would meet that class of people, that income level of people. And you can start to turn neighborhoods around and eventually turn the city around, and that could extend out to the parish. But at that point, it goes back to your very first item on the priority list. Where will that revenue come from? You have to identify that revenue, those possible revenue streams, cultivate them, and see if you can get those to actually come to fruition.
And piggyback off what you're saying, there are benefits to being a part of a certain group of people who maintain control. They don't face the same problems that we face, but they live in our city, right along with us, to go to work with them, or interact with them. What your worry may be when you go home, they're not even concerned about. Whereas you're concerned with whether they're concerned with whether or not their home is fitted for smart, whether they have underground cable wire. And the city feels that support too, because everyone's eligible. But you can go right over here and we still have preschool goals that are still a part of this rural environment thing where you know it's supposed to be community. So there is a community of people. What I'm driving at is there is people that don't have this problem. And then there's a community of people that do. Now, when the people that do go to the people that don't, we get what we have here. And that's like 7 generations of backlog of anything and everything black. Or in these districts 1, 2, and 3. Because obviously districts 1, 2, and 3 are part of some type of segregated community where districts 4 and 5 get benefit. And that benefit comes from somewhere. And it's in that poverty, which is uses something. Poverty is bad for us and good for them because it qualifies them for certain federal loan. Now, you may never receive that benefit to the people that are actually in poverty, but oh yeah, the money came, and they're going to use it, and you're never going to know about it. And that's why it's important that we organize farm flat roads because at the end of the day, we have to have a community that is completely aware of what's going on around them. And we've buried our head in the sand so long that like, no, it's don't understand, it's just we don't understand it. Yeah. And we look around and there's like nobody, you know, just like right now, I don't feel confident in the current setup of the local city government that we will be able to take our voices in mass and go talk to them and get results. I don't feel that confident that we have anybody that essentially has our back aside for us. Mr. Argument on the state level, we're talking right here, right? And so the interesting thing is the options that we can exercise as citizens to remedy that issue. And you can, no matter what they say to you during the election, if they're not doing it, you get organized again, very clear. You can organize and get them removed and replaced. You do that and you're fixing one problem at a time. At least now in that council, you have somebody that they're probably fighting on side the whole time and they really have a heart and understand what's going on. Right now, we don't have that in our representation. Aside from Mr. Luther. And so that's a critical point right there. We don't have the political support. As Mr. Luther pointed out, there's people in the legislature that will vote against this. We have people here on the city council when we did the fight for 15 that would in our next labor. It was just for local municipalities that the minimum wage, and it was just support of that bill by the city council. It failed the first time, but majority of our council members at that time were on business and still are. Some of them are still in the council. And the problem that I see with that is there's a group of them now that have full control of their city and the finances, comes, contracts, all that. Things you'll never hear about. unless you're dead. And those people are the same people that didn't want to be responsible for setting minimum wage locally. So we have people that are representing us that are not invested in our community at all, other than the fight and, you know, the poverty and crime go hand in hand. So as long as the crime rate stays up, the poverty rate stays down. And eventually, once you get done killing each other, or you get done putting you in jail, you'll end up leaving Big Mama house on that corner and go to cheap. So it's in their best interest that poverty exists. Because there's no way that you can fight poverty for so long and it's still here. And it's systematic, built like the machines built on their back. And we're still, at this point, we're picking cotton for our electricity. We really are, we're slaving away. And those people that won't change the minimum wage, those are individual companies because you can set the wage for whatever you like, without liking you work with minimum wage. And so, I side with those people that work minimum wage and struggle homeless. I side with those people, I cheer them on every day. It's pretty strong for you to go to work for a boss that says you're only working 725 and you don't even have a home to go to. And so that whole ideology has to change, the structure has to be dismantled. And like I keep pointing out, there's steps you can take to start that process. And it's you know, it's a powerful thing when they eat the actual food and you come back and you move.
Thank you so much, Laura. That's a good segue for the organizer piece on the agenda.
It really is.
I'll pass it off to Amari.
Good evening, everybody. How y'all feeling? So my name is Omari Hossein, and I am the Northern Louisiana organizer for Housing Louisiana. And I'm also the senior organizing manager for Black Lives Matter, or the BBM Capacity Building Institute. So I'm very, very glad to be here tonight to talk with you as a part of this housing listening tour. Because as we know, housing is vital, right? When we leave here, where we going? Home, right? Where are our children and grandchildren hopefully at this time? At home. Where do we eat dinner? Where do we sleep? Where do we take our medicines? We do it at home. And so our homes are a vital part of our health, our community health. And what we're seeing is that we're already starting at a behind the line, right? When it comes to the quality of life in our community. And so what I'm here to talk about today is Residents Organized for Housing Louisiana, also known as ROLA, right? So we've talked about housing, we've talked about property insurance, we've talked about minimum wage and jobs, but what we're really talking about in the underlying part of that is power. And having the power and the ability to change the circumstances that we're talking about. And so when we were having a conversation about funding, about property insurance and really being able to combat these storms, understanding that there is an insurance crisis across the entire planet, right? And we know that in order to combat the impending storm, we have to have houses that we're already living in that are ready to combat those storms. Rep. Marvin talked about roofing, right? Making sure that we're reinforcing our roofs. But where is that money going to come from? Well, we know that Louisiana Republicans feel like they do not want to support people fixing their homes in their constituencies, in their districts. That means that we have to identify funding sources that we actually have the right and the access to that we just don't know about. So for example, in Alexandria, there are $11 million as of September 2022, right? $11 million left over from ARPA. That's money that can be used to improve our housing stock. That's money that can be used to house people that are evicted. That's money that can be used for job training programs that are focused on specific neighborhoods. We can use that money to benefit our people if only we knew about it. But sometimes we know about it, but we don't know the steps or the tactics to get there. This page, which I would like another opportunity with those who are interested in participating in ROLA to really sit down and delve into this. Because this priorities page is a vision. This is a vision for how we want to change our community. but we need a tactical plan. And that's what Rolla will empower us to do. To number one, know our vision. What is the number one priority that we in Alexandria need to work on right now today? What is it? Is it the housing trust fund? Is it education and community engagement about affordable housing? What is it? I think each of us have our own answer to that question, but we have to determine it. And then the next thing we have to determine, we have to know the environment. As I said, there's $11 million here in Alexandria for the things that we need, but there's $78 million left over across the state. Much of the money that came down from ARPA was used, and probably in many cases, rightly so, for revenue replacement. That means that local governments received funding used it to cover expenses that they had lost or income. That's where a majority of the money went. A majority of the money did not go toward hotels or housing or jobs. It went toward really helping our local government and our state government continue to persist. But now we, the people, need to persist. And so we do know, what we do know about this environment is there's leftover funding. So those who are good with budgets, who are good with following the money, who are good with developing programming, we need to get together and determine what are we going to do with that approximately $11 million left here in Alexandria, right? And then we have to organize and act. And there are so many different steps in the organizing process. And today this is a preliminary step. This is the first step. Now, this is the second time we've been here in the past 6 or 7 months. But this is a process. We're getting to know one another. We're getting to know this topic a little bit better. But we got to come back together. And we have to commit and say, we want to build an infrastructure to actually get these priorities done. Because if we keep meeting, which we love seeing your lovely faces, but we don't come together with a vision and a commitment about which of these priorities that we want to tackle and understanding the steps and the funding that can make that happen, we're really just having a really good conversation, right? And so we have to move ahead. And so I heard about restricted access to federal money. So once we sit down and say, we know it's $11 million left, but we know that there are so many different restrictions to especially small nonprofits, Black-owned nonprofits to actually get that money. Because a lot of times federal money has to be reimbursed, which keeps a lot of low capacity nonprofits out of the game. Because they don't have, say you get granted $1 million of that 11 million. But your budget, your general operating budget is 300,000. How are you going to be able to reimburse that? Or it's 20,000 to be more realistic. How are you going to be able to receive $1 million grant that you have to reimburse every $100,000? That is hard for a nonprofit. And what that problem is a policy problem. Why is it that small nonprofits can't be fronted a percentage of a grant? So that way they can begin operations, they can begin the work, and then be able to build up the capacity to reimburse those grants. So we have to look at the policy to be able to access the money that gives us the capacity to change some of the issues on our priority list. So I feel like I have the job of opening up the doors of the church and asking people to join us with Rolla. And how I feel as a community organizer, when, somebody I talk about all the time is Ella Jo Baker. A lot of people know Dr. King or even Fannie Lou Hamer, but they don't know Ella Jo Baker. And Ella Jo Baker was somebody who organized in the background, who came to the meeting after the big meeting and sat with the people of the community and talked about that vision. Everybody in here has a vision for your life, for your family, for your situation. And we have to sit down and talk about that. And so I asked everyone in here, y'all just got some forms to fill out with your information. Destiny's the one who passed them out. She is the Alexandria organizer. She is the one that you will interface with mostly to build the structure for the change we need. Alexandria has some amazing people. This is my third time down here in the last few months. We usually bring the Black Voters bus down here around election time. And every time I meet somebody, I hear a story about how things were in Alexandria in the past. The systemic racism that we've had to deal with down here, the poverty, the storms, and being left behind.
But I see beyond that we have a resiliency here to push past things as they currently are. And housing, what better way to work together and begin a movement than about something so critical to somebody's everyday life? Black people deserve to live in nice communities. We deserve to have nice houses. And we deserve to have that done by nonprofits in our community that actually care about us and not fly-by-night organizations who have lots of money and big budgets that can take the money and forget about the people that they're supposed to serve. So I encourage you all to join us in Roller, to join this work, but most importantly, before our next meeting, look at this priority list and determine what's your number one priority. Is it even on here? And if it's not on here, write down your vision so that we can talk about it. Because once we determine our vision, our collective vision, then we have to make it tactical. That's what the real work. So thank y'all so much again for coming here. Thank y'all for listening to me. I look forward to talking to you all after the meeting if you have a couple of minutes, because I was late and did not hear all of your concerns. But I look forward to working with you through Destiny and through Brandon and Housing Louisiana. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. That's how you doing. Thank you so much, Amara. So, thank y'all so much for spending an hour and a half. I want to honor our time. We got 3 minutes left. And before I go, I want to make sure that the Alexandria organizer on this round give some final remarks. But I want to give an update on the last thing that Amara said about Roller. So what we are trying to do is start an inaugural resident organizing chapter, 9 different chapters across the state. One will be here in Central Louisiana. I'm the southern region, so Amara is the northern. So I had anywhere from Lake Charles, Lafayette, Backwoods, Palmer, Thibodeau, and New Orleans. That's my territory. And then Amara has Monroe, the North Shore, which I'm kind of taking over there. Freeport and Alexandria, Central Louisiana. So those are the 9 areas. So what we are doing is starting something so novel that hasn't been done before. And in March, next month, we want to start a kickoff proposal. And what we want to make sure is that Central Louisiana is represented, right? So about 9 areas, we want about 100-something people on that call to make sure that we are represented across the state. And make sure that we have some of our councilmen invited to that meeting and come and hear what the residents are saying across the state. So I want to thank you guys for your time and thank you for listening to us. This was such a powerful discussion, and I'm so happy that you guys showed up. And I'll let Stephanie go to come to the boss, and then we can go out our way to leave, take a extra box. We have a few left over. And get you something to eat. All right, Stephanie. Oh, and then the last thing is that slip is a level of engagement for Roller. That's the way for us to keep in touch, and this is the way for Destiny to keep engaging with you guys, okay? Go ahead.
Anybody have any questions or concerns they want to raise? Suggestions?
Thank you.
I would like to lend support of some outlines to whatever we got to do.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Stephanie, what are the next steps?
I'm gonna follow back up with, I'm looking forward to, partnering with them to hear them out, see what we can come up with to better organize.
Better organize Central Louisiana. I want to thank y'all so much. Before we go, I want to announce some of the housing NOLA team in Housing Louisiana. We have Mr. Rupert right here, who is our Assistant State Policy Director for Housing Louisiana. He'll be getting in contact with probably the councilman and a few of you guys over on this way, kind of touching base with you. And then we have Mauricia Young, our honor person here as well, from Housing NOLA as well. So we say Housing NOLA, GNOHA, and Housing Louisiana, we are a housing triad company, right? So it's 3 organizations in one. So you may hear Housing NOLA, it's still Housing Louisiana. You may hear GNOHA, it's still Housing NOLA, something like that. So you may hear all 3 acronyms at one point in time, but just know that we're talking about the same organization. I can't thank you guys enough, and thank you. And by the way, this is my first time leading this meeting, so I thank y'all. And I hope it was a robust conversation, and I know I left y'all with a lot of data, and y'all have my email. If y'all have any questions, please reach out to me, okay? Thank y'all so much, y'all get home safe, okay?
I'll everybody come and talk to Chris.
Oh, Dr. Chris, Dr. Chris, stand up and tell everyone about this style. Roll the members from South.